What happened to a people that built the pyramids and yet now live in projects? What happened? What happened to a people that were the first to read and write using a term called hieroglyphics and yet now can no longer read or write? In essence, what happened to a people in terms of Egypt? It's amazing. King Tut came to America and we didn't realize that King Tut was one of us. Somebody mysteriously took Egypt out of Africa and placed it in the Middle East. Now, how do you take a country out of a continent and then call it something else? As a result, we didn't realize that Egypt is in Africa. Egyptians are Africans, and we were the ones that built those pyramids. But my new history book, Lessons from History, Celebration in Blackness, for elementary, and there's also one for high school. You see, we are concerned about some issues here. The first one being, where do you start? You see, we have found that many black youth are embarrassed talking about the history. The Jews, now about the Holocaust, but us about slavery. I think one reason is where you start. The law says where you start will determine where you end up. Now, where do you want to start our children? If they started in 1619, they start on a plantation. It says where you start will determine where you end up. Now, where do you want to start our children? If they started in 1619, they start on a plantation. That means they'll probably end up in a ghetto. But if you start 4 million years ago on a pyramid, they end up being free. Now, where do you want to start? On a plantation or on a pyramid? Because depending upon where you start will determine where they end up. Our first problem is we've been starting in the wrong place. And you cannot discuss 4 million years in 28 days. Black History Month. Now, I'm glad we got the month. It used to be a week. But you can't discuss 4 million years in 28 days. It's simply not enough time. And then the other issue, what are we going to discuss? You see, if all we're going to discuss are names and dates and events, then you can do that in about 28 days. When was King born? 29. When did he go to D.C.? 63. When did he get the Nobel Prize? 64. When did he die? 68. That would never change. But if you want to make it relevant, you connect the past with the present and with the future. In other words, what were our mistakes? Because the mistakes you want to avoid. And the strengths you want to reinforce. I'll say it clearly. Those that don't know their history, don't know their mistakes, are destined to repeat it over and over and over and over again. Our children need to know their story. And it did not start here. And it should be more than just names and dates and events. But let me calm down and go on. There's still two answers left, Africa and America. But there's a tremendous difference between who you are and where you're born. My hometown, Chicago, the ex-mayor, Daley. If you had asked Daley where he was born, he'd said he was born in the...
Think you know Black history? Think again. Unlock the untold stories and groundbreaking achievements that are not often taught in school with Black History Unlocked must-have digital PDF. Black history facts you probably didn't learn in school. Discover hidden narratives, impactful individuals, and revolutionary events that shaped our world. Accessible anytime, anywhere. Expand your knowledge and be inspired. Click the link in our bio to get your copy of Black history facts you probably didn't learn in school today. Dive into history like never before.